Hey, people are talking about Window Nation. I know nothing about windows except they go up and go down and hot or cold, right? However, after talking to Marion at Window Nation, like I got such a good explanation that I'm sure it's very difficult, but it was explained to me so easy that I wanted to knock holes in my house and put windows where I don't even need places that have windows. And this August, they're giving you a great value during their anniversary sale. Get this, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Hurry because the sale ends August 31st, so schedule a fast in-home estimate right now. 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
There's no distance too far for the perfect trip.
Hi, checking in for...
Or the perfect table.
Hey, where are you? Coming!
And when you get access to Resi Priority Notify with your Amex Platinum card...
Hey, this looks amazing. I'm so glad you made it.
And travel benefits at fine hotels and resorts booked through Amex Travel, it's worth the trip. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withAmex.
To everyone who loves Culver's, the feeling is mutual. When I'm serving you a Butterburger, I'm just as happy as you are. I almost get giddy when I hear the sizzle of our fresh beef on the grill. And when I layer on the Wisconsin cheese, I'm like, they are gonna love this. It's delicious. Seeing that smile that comes from a meal made just right, I like to call that love at first bite. Order ahead on the Culver's app or Culver's.com and make Butterburgers your happy place.
From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
This is a podcast called 25 Whistles Talking Football, and they all wear a whistle, yeah, it's stupid, but what did you expect? It's a podcast called 25 Whistles. 25 Whistles.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We're going to do an hour with Rich Eisen. Rich, a legend if you watch SportsCenter back when SportsCenter was actually watched. I don't watch SportsCenter anymore, do you?
No. But his days, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way you could even get scores.
Yeah.
And it would come on all the time. I guess now I watch TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah.
Or I just search for it.
Yeah, I don't...
Are there any famous anchors even now?
No.
Now, obviously, the medium has changed, right? We're not saying they're worse today than they were then. But I don't know any of the sports guys.
No, I feel like every time I do watch it, it's somebody different. So I can't, relate or know anybody.
Rich, wildly famous for SportsCenter back in the day, NFL Network. He has his own The Rich Eisen Show now, which is on the Roku channel from 12 to 3 Eastern every weekday. And I've spoken to Rich on the phone. He called before I filled in for him the last time. And he was like, hey, I just want you to know. And I was like, this is crazy. I'm talking to Rich Eisen. We interviewed him on this show, but on Zoom from his studio. And I was like, that's crazy. That's Rich Eisen. But I'd never met him in person. And I think I mentioned this. My wife was like, oh, you're going to see Rich Eisen again. I was like, I've never met him. She was like, didn't you go? I was like, yeah, but I went because he wasn't there, filled in. But I loved him. Rich is a legend in the sports broadcasting world. ESPN from back in SportsCenter days, NFL Network since 2003, multiple movies, he's done it all. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Rich Eisen and Rich Eisen Show. And I think we just get to it. Anything I'm missing here?
No, this is awesome.
Jet, was it cool for you?
It was, yeah. I mean... Yeah, he's a pinnacle for me personally of a sports broadcasting guy that I grew up watching. He talks about it a little bit, going to bed and waking up and seeing him every day. That was me on the West Coast, falling asleep every day.
Then waking up with Rich.
Yeah, both at the same time.
All right, here he is. This is Rich Eisen. Rich, thanks for coming over.
You got it, Bobby.
I was watching on, I guess, Instagram, all the things. You were doing the Hall of Fame last couple nights?
Yes, sir.
You got to be exhausted.
No, I'm invigorated, brother. This is.
But do you go to work tomorrow? Will you do the show tomorrow?
I'm going to do the show tomorrow. Yeah, hey, flying back to LA tonight as soon as I'm done with you. Got a flight.
Did you at least fly private from Canton to here?
No. Well, yes, private is known as business select.
Yeah.
So, but that was Cleveland to here, and so, but I do love going to the Hall of Fame. Is something I've done almost as much as anything else that I've done with NFL Network. And it's the only Hall of Fame where it kicks off a season. Everybody else's Hall of Fame is usually mid-season or total off-season. This is the signal that it's back. So it's always neat to celebrate the past as you're about to kick off the present. It's a really neat affair.
You spend any time with Devin Hester?
I did, yeah.
I think I would like him.
You would.
I think
You sure would.
And I think at this point now, I can kind of tell somebody's personality.
Yeah.
Social media kind of allows that now. I think I would like Devin Hester. What's that guy like?
I mean, I've known of him for quite some time, working with Deion Sanders, who took him in because Devin didn't have a dad. I believe his dad died when he was 11. So Deion was kind of his father figure. So to see Deion there for the jacket presentation, to be the one to put it on him, was a pretty neat moment for both guys. He's considered a Devin a son for a long time. I was there on the Thursday night football game in Atlanta when he broke Deion's record for returns, with Deion there underneath Deion's banner in Deion's house that he built, the Georgia Dome. And it's pretty amazing that I think the thing that makes him particularly special is that, listen, the thing you love in sports the most is when the expectation level is not just met but surpassed. And anytime he touched the ball, you expected something special to happen with him. And the number of times that he did it when it was expected of him on the biggest stages like the Super Bowl or a Thursday night game with Deion in the house, the fact that he got an opportunity to return one and then he did it is what makes him a Hall of Famer. And those are the most special moments that in sports where you're like, boy, I hope this guy hits a home run. Boy, I hope he returns one. Boy, I'd love to see, him win a game with a 3-point shot. And the sports gods bestow them with the opportunity and then they cash it in. It really is something else to see. And he's really special in that regard.
How did you and Deion become close?
Well, I mean, we worked together. So, and that was about it. We started working together at NFL Network in the mid-aughts. And, when Deion joins, obviously there's a buzz and there's an excitement level because of what he brings to the table. But there's also, and he'll tell you this, an expectation that he makes it about him because he's prime time and he is somebody that invites the spotlight. He doesn't just bask in it, he invites it. So anybody who's worked with him or was a teammate of his will let you know he's the most collaborative, best teammate that you can have. And that begun when the highlight show that we were doing together from Jump when he joined NFL Network, NFL Game Day Highlights, which was the highlight show after the late afternoon games were over in advance of Sunday Night Football. And then after Sunday Night Football, it was me, Deion, and Steve Mariucci. And Steve was kind of new to television. And so they put Deion in the middle and Steve at the end of the set. And Deion said, first thing he goes, let's not have Steve on the outside. Let's have him in the middle. Because, if I'm in the middle and I'm talking to Rich, it's, Steve will be forgotten. He's going to be out there on his own. And I was totally blown away by that. He was awesome. He was always thinking about other people. I had a 40th birthday party. He surprised me by flying in from Texas just for it. He's the best, man. And he was giving out the first Thursday night season. He was always telling Mooch that his shoes stunk, so he was going to get Gucci's for his Moochie, and he got him Gucci shoes, and then he asked everybody for their sizes, didn't want to leave anybody out, so we all got Gucci slip, we all got these awesome Gucci slip-on shoes. I could tell Deion stories for days.
I think it was about 2017, ABC called, and I'd done a little work with them. This is pre-Idol, before I was on Idol for a bunch of years at Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
And they kind of just flirted with putting me on because I wasn't like coastal guy. I didn't live in LA, didn't live in New York. And they were like, hey, come out and test for this daytime talk show. And I was like, oh, cool. Sounds great. I've done a lot of tests. And I get there, and you've actually been famous for a long time. I've only ever flirted with like the crust of the water, right? So I'm up, and it's like me, and I'm doing all these panels with like Rudy Huxtable and Juliana Rancic and like the eighth housewife of these shows. And so I make it through that day. And so I really didn't know what I was doing, even going out there, meaning I didn't know it was going to be like, can you survive day one to get to day two? So then I'm in like day 2 with like slightly more famous people. So now it's like Theo Huxtable. And then it's like this.
You upgraded the 5th
Yes.
housewife?
So I continue to move through, and there are actually like famous people that are testing for the show on the very last day. And it's a little intimidating for me. And everybody's in their cliques in the very Hollywood way. And so I'm just sitting at this cafeteria table by myself. And somebody goes, hey, you can come sit over here. And I looked up, and it was freaking Deion Sanders, who I'd never met. He didn't know me, but he just saw me sitting by myself. Now, I'm an adult man at this point, too. It's not like I'm a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But it was that Forrest Gump moment where, can't see here, seats taken, where it really felt like that. And so he invited me over, and I talked with him for a while. And then we worked together because it was him and I that ABC picked to do the show. We worked together every day for 4 months. And I tell people, like, he was like the greatest I'll look out for you dude that I've ever worked with.
Yeah, right.
When he was coaching his kids in high school at the time, Shador, he was the high school coach down in Texas, and he'd fly back and forth, and Tracy would come
For
with
his
him.
truth, yeah. Uh-huh.
And so we did the show for ABC. They changed their kind of executive hierarchy, and the show went to pilot, and then it did not get picked up. And so we went from working together every day for 4 months to not at all. But I kid you not, he would just reach out randomly, and I would be amazed that somebody so world-renowned, excellent at what he does, regardless of what area he was in, would actually think to remember and care.
Yeah.
And so then when he got the job at Jackson State, I reached out, it was super cool, Colorado, and the perception I think that people have of him, and I don't think it's unfair because I think he does it. He knows what he's great at.
He invites it.
Yes.
He invites it.
But I would be like his biggest, and he didn't need an advocate of like, he's the greatest dude ever.
Right.
And when one of my books come out, he took a picture and posted on social media of him reading the book with the cover out. Didn't ask him, and I just remember Deion being so cool. So when he comes on your show, I'm always like, man, that is, it's so cool to see somebody else like yourself who loves Deion.
I do.
Who had that relationship on a personal basis because he was so cool to me when he didn't have to be.
It's just he's just truly one of the coolest guys you can ever meet. And I'll never forget. We were going to the Pro Bowl practice one year. The first year it was taken out of Hawaii and it was put in South Florida. And so we're driving by a baseball facility in Fort Lauderdale and on the way to the practice. And he goes, I think I've been here before. I got this feeling I've been here before. I'm like, yeah, Deion, that's where you were in spring training with the Yankees. And you forget, okay? You just forget sometimes how much he's lived and how great he's been at living. Right?
Elite.
Right? And where he is a guy who also hosted Saturday Night Live and had a song, Must Be the Money, and could have been the MVP of a World Series, and so on and so on and so on. Easily the most famous guy I've ever walked through an airport with. Hands down, anybody, so regardless of race, color, creed, socioeconomic status, they all want a piece of him. And I will always sing Deion's praises, always.
About 5 years ago, I redesigned the radio studio to be more visual. We have cameras in the walls.
Yeah.
I mean, I stole the set completely from yours. Before I'd even ever sat in yours, my dream was to always be, and it's shifted a bit with how technology has been, but I always wanted to do a late night talk show because Letterman was my hero.
Me too.
Yeah, he was irreverent, he was goofy. I felt like if that guy can do it, I have a chance.
Sure.
And so when I flipped the radio show into a multimedia show for all intents and purposes,
sure,
I would watch you on social media, and I was just like, that's the set that I'd like to have. So I'd like to say that publicly.
Thank you.
I stole that from you.
I'm honored that you would say that or think it. I'm the same way. Letterman is my guy. I mean, like the comedic axiom of make a joke, repeat it, then beat it to death. That's David Letterman, and I love that.
Did you ever meet him?
I was on his show once. So that's the only time I've met him. And trust me, I really wanted to get on his show. I mean, of all shows, that's the one. And the number of times that I attempted and had people, reach out was voluminous. And the 1 year he